Hey everybody, let's try and play an actual game with this deck though, without two people conceding. So, we're playing Derevi Imperial Tactician against some people I actually have played against before. Maybe not, definitely on stream, maybe not in videos. MP161 and Saint Grevi. These are both pretty good players. I'm excited to see what they're playing. MP161 I usually know him for his mill decks, but this is Child of Lars, so I'm assuming it's not mill. We have a great hand. We would keep this any day of the week. K-Reach, Skyreach Rock, and Battle Screech plus Derevi is magnifique. We're going to keep it. We are playing Derevi, Imperial Tactician. Green, white, blue for a 2/3 flying bird wizard. And whenever it enters the battlefield or a creature I control deals combat damage to a player, I can tap or untap target permanent. And for 1 green, white, blue, puts Derevi onto the battlefield from the command zone. Top right player goes turn 1 since the Divining Top. We're going to go turn 1 Flood Strand, finding probably Breeding Pool or Hallowed Fountain. We are going to find Hallowed Fountain because we need a second white source. We don't need a second green source ever, so Hallowed Fountain it is. We could get Tundra, but I'd rather get the come into play tap land here. Not going to pay 2 life for it though, yeah. We get to play turn 2 Soul Catcher. This is a card that forced one of our opponents to concede the last time we played this game. So better watch out. We might get a snap concession to our Soul Catcher again. Our top left player is playing Child of Alara. White, blue, black, red, green for a 6/6 trampling avatar. When it dies, destroy all non-land permanents so they cannot be regenerated. Our middle player is playing Intet the Dreamer, the original Teamer General. 3 blue, red, green for a 6/6 flying dragon. Whenever Intet the Dreamer deals combat damage to a player, you can pay 2 and a blue. If you do, exile the top card of your library, face down. You may look at that card for as long as it remains exiled, and you may play that card without paying its mana cost for as long as Intet remains on the battlefield. He played a turn 1 Skull Clamp. Our Krenko deck plays a turn 1 Sentient Divining Top, and he's also playing Krenko the Mob Boss. 2 red for a 3/3 Goblin Warrior. He can tap to put X 1/1 red Goblin creature token onto the battlefield, where X is the number of goblins you control. Really quick story about the Planar Chaos Dragons. Intet being one of them. You used to not be able to play Wedge colors until the Planar Chaos Dragons were printed. That's not a lie, that's a fact, and it was a scary time to be alive. We are just going to play a forest and play Soul Catcher here. So what do I mean by that? Basically what I mean is that before Planar Chaos, which came about with Time Spiral block, you were not able to play Wedge colors in EDH at all. Wedge is being... I'll pull a card out real quick. Got a card in here somewhere, right? There's Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Come on. There we go. Are these important cards? Nyx Fleece Rams, Banishing Lights. No, they're not important cards. So I'm going to hold up a magic card real quick. Get that to focus in. There it is. So wedges are pretty interesting. There's between a wedge and a shard. Basically, if you were to have a shard, if you hold up a magic card like I just showed you, you can circle any of the outside pairs and you'll get a shard. A wedge is named because if you draw a wedge on the back of your Magic the Gathering card, you'll hit a 3-color pair that is a triangle or a wedge, per se. So I actually circled Teamer there. So until Planar Chaos, you just couldn't play wedge generals. It just wasn't allowed. We have a turn 2 Warrant Instigator, which is pretty cute. We don't really care about it. We're definitely just going to go turn 3 Kadamas Reach. It is the strongest thing. One of the strongest things you can do in Commander. Play this Glacial Forest, and just play K-Reach. We will not be grabbing a second forest. Again, we do not need more than 1 forest this entire game. I guess we might want another forest for Derevi and Ice Feather Raven, so we'll get 1 more forest. Just 1, though. Only 1. Don't need more than 1. You can hear me clicking this pen. Okay. But yeah, those are wedges. We've had Shard Generals since, well, the Elder Dragons. The original progenitors of the Elder Dragon format were all shards. Your Esper, your Grixis, your Bant, your Jund. We're going to get a single forest, just 1, and another plains. We'll put the plains into play tapped. There you go. We will not attack with Soul Catcher. I'll block Warrant Instigator if I have to. But yeah, so you weren't able to play Wedge Generals until the Planar Chaos Dragons. One of the most significant effectors for the format for a very long time. In fact, not until the Planar Chaos Dragons were printed did EDH really start taking off. I'm not saying that because the Wedge Dragons were printed, EDH started becoming really popular. I am saying they coincided with each other, so it's more a coincidence than anything else. And then the next Wedge commander that was printed was Dorn, and after that we had to wait a long time until the first Planeswalker product. The first commander product. So when you're playing against Wedge Generals, remember that those decks are a little bit younger than you think they are. Our top right player did play a Warren Instigator. This is a red-red double striking 1/1. Whenever this deals damage to an opponent, you may put a goblin creature card from your hand onto the battlefield. Our top left player is playing Child of Lara. Something really important to understand when it comes to Baby, the littlest baby, is how it works with the command zone. Child of Lara has to die to destroy all non-land permanents. Because of this, it has to go to the graveyard and stay in the graveyard. Dies is shorthand for goes from the battlefield to the graveyard. If instead you choose to have your Child of Lara go from the battlefield to the command zone, due to like a wrath effect, you will not get the triggered ability from Child of Lara because it does not actually enter the graveyard. Very important distinction. Whenever people a lot of times people first pick up Child of Lara, they think they can constantly reactivate that wrath effect, when in actuality they are not able to. This is a double Goblin Lackey, basically. I don't know, we're kind of hoping we'll block it if it attacks us, but he's probably going to get 2 goblins into play, and we can't do much about that. We are going to play Skymaker Rock next. That is a Vidalcan Ori coming down for Intet the Dreamer deck. So I'm going to collapse our opponent's commanders. I hope you remember them. And this guy is definitely putting 2 goblins into play. He casts Perforos. Okay. We got to act quick. This game might be over very fast. Perforos, 3 and a red for an indestructible 6/5. As long as your devotion of red is 5 or less, he isn't a creature. And whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, Perforos deals 2 damage to each opponent. Oh yeah, we're blocking, baby. I will block your Warren Instigator immediately. Are you kidding? Yeah, easy blocks. Yeah. Now, whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, Perforos deals 2 damage to each opponent. And for 2 and a red, creatures you control get +1/+0 until end of turn. We are going to play this Skymaker Rock. Actually, we can just leave up. We're going to leave up Derevi, actually. I really want to be able to tap this Warren Instigator before he goes to attacks. So we're going to play this Temple of Enlightenment. I would like to put a Dap-Tom-Tom on the top of our library. One of the main thing about the bird deck is that our cards are really low power. They're birds, for God's sakes. There aren't that many really powerful birds. Now, something very unique to Derevi is its 3rd ability, technically, after flying. 1 green, white, blue. We can put this onto the battlefield from the command zone. That is an instant speed. It can't be countered, all that jazz. So that means that we can place it into the battlefield during our top right players beginning of combat to tap the Warren Instigator down, which will be very important. And our Child of Lara deck just once again passing. Really being hindered by this Reliquary Tower, actually. The fact that his stats for colorless mana means he can't just cast Baby there. Baby, again, shorthand for Child of Lara. Green, black, white, red. He does need a blue source or a red source to be able to cast his commander. Alright. Do remember, our Intet deck has a Vidalcan Ori, so he can cast on the cards that he had Flash. He doesn't have to worry right now about casting stuff during his turn. And there's no way we're not tapping on this Warren Instigator. He'd have to play something much more malicious. Ruby Medallion, making red spells cost 1 less to cast. This is a card I dislike in Commander. I don't see the value of it at all. I've been told multiple times, Tom, the medallions are good cards. And I've always responded with the, show me why they're good cards. They always bring up a Storm deck. And yes, I agree. The medallions are good in Storm decks. But Storm decks are few and far between when it comes to Commander. Ooh, Divining Top going to go on top. He found the card he wants. My guess is it's a land. Turns out it's a gamble. So he's not getting back that top. A single red mana for sorcery. Search your library for a card. Put the card into your hand. Discard a card at random. Then shuffle your library. Let's see what he discards. So he loses top. It's somewhere in the middle of his library now. And let's see what gets put in the graveyard. And we are definitely tapping Warren Instigator. I wouldn't be surprised if he finds a mountain gets discarded here. I wouldn't be surprised if he found Goblin Recruiter. Goblin Recruiter is a card that is banned in every other format besides Commander. Pretty much. Basically, it lets you stack your deck with goblins. And that is literally what it does, and it is scary every single time it happens. Goblin Recruiter usually leads to, hey, this game's over. So we're going to tap his Warren Instigator, because that's not allowed right now. No. I would like to use his ability. Yes, please. Thank you. Beck and Call. It's 8 mana to cast both halves, but whenever a creature enters the battlefield, you may draw a card for green-blue, and you can put 4 1/1 white bird creature tokens flying onto the battlefield as well. In fact, right now, we can Beck and Call and make a We can cast Beck and Call and Battle Screech, which would be pretty funny, actually. We could cast the Beck part of this, cast Battle Screech, draw 2, tap these guys, put 2 more 1/1s into play, draw 6 in total. We would have to discard those, so let's not do that right now. I think instead we're going to play our Skymaker Rock here. Whenever it attacks, I can return target creature defending player controls with toughness 2 or less to its owner's hand. It's a pretty cool card. I like it. It's a fun spell. It's a bird. It's a 3/3 for 4. It was great and limited. It's good enough for our EDH deck. How about that? We'll play Manamo, School at Water's Edge. We can pay blue to tap and untap target legendary permanent. Not that great with Mindslaver, because, you know, but good with other things. We're going to send Derevi at our mono red player, and we're going to look to morph our Ice Feather Aven with the untap here. Cast this baby face down and pass. We are playing a little bit into a Wrath Effect, but because we have Beck, Call, and Battle Screech in hand, I think we're pretty good after a Wrath Effect. That's the reason why we played the Morph as opposed to Adaptive Automaton. If we play Automaton there, we run into this situation where if we get Wrath, we just can't put real power on the battlefield because we just put the Morph and the Skymaker Rock. Although we still put 5 power into play, we don't have to put our Adaptive Automaton in play, and any way to pump power is incredibly valuable in this type of deck. When it comes to off-kilter tribes, like birds, one of the main things you want to do is really value those increasing power pieces heavily. Whether it's dwarves, or snakes, or spiders, or insects, the ability to pump power is incredibly important, especially when it comes to being able to get through well-built commander decks. So for us, we value cards like Adaptive Automaton very highly, and especially ways to draw multiple cards. Stuff like Beck and Call and Battle Screech are very important for us. Now, what'll be pretty cool, and what we might do is next turn just cast Battle Screech to put creatures in play, especially if the board gets Wrath, and look to cast a fused Beck and Call, then also recast Battle Screech from the graveyard, and just laugh at our opponents. Of note, when I said draw 6 earlier, I meant draw 4, of course, because this puts Battle Screech as a 4-mana sorcery, puts 2 1/1 birds into play, and we can flash it back by tapping 3 untapped white creatures. So we would only get 4 cards out of Battle Screech, the same amount from Beck and Call. So we'll figure it out. No matter what, we can draw a bunch of cards next turn unless our hand gets gets wheeled away or something. Looks like our 5-color deck might be a little bit constrained on lands. He's definitely hesitating a lot during his main phase. Hopefully not figuring out what cards he has to discard. Of note, if he doesn't have something to cast on 5, that's a pretty scary hand. He just might need... No, he has axed every color mana, so... We'll see what he goes for. Funnily enough, our deck is very powerful against Earthquake. Our creatures are in the air all the time. They also like to party all the time, of note, because they're related to Lionel Richie. Oh, no, wait. Party all the time is Eddie Murphy. Gosh damn it. Dancing on the Ceiling is Lionel Richie, obviously. How could I forget that? Certified dummy over here. Are we going to have another person concede to the birds? I hope not, because that'd be really disappointing. Hello. Doing a little bit of housekeeping on the MTGO client. Always fun to do. To lie, by the way. So I really do like this deck. I don't think it's great or powerful. If I were to grade it on a scale of 1 to 10, it probably sits about a 6 or probably a 6 or a 5. I can definitely fold to decks that are better than it. And I'm very concerned about our mono red deck, who played Perforos and then gambled for something. The card I'd be the most scared of from this deck right now is probably... Oh, actually, this is very easy. Any sort of haste enabler, probably Goblin Warchief, or any sort of cards like Mana Echoes would both be very scary. Mana Echoes especially because with Krenko you can nearly go infinite. And with that Perforos in play, you get your cards really big really quickly. But my guess, if I was playing that deck and I was gambling, I'm guessing he found a haste creature or Goblin Recruiter. Either one. Goblin Recruiter is just amazing. Actually amazing. In fact, can I just pull it up in the chat? Let me see. Haha! Goblin Recruiter is 1 red for a goblin. When it enters the battlefield, search your library for any number of goblin cards and reveal those cards. Shuffle your library and then put them on top of it in any order. So, a very nice person made a couple of bots that's been really useful for the stream especially. But it pulls a lot of information. You can actually use them in the chat. So we just looked up what Goblin Recruiter did real quick. Yeah, it's a great, great, great card. It does mean, though, that you are stuck on lands. If he plays Goblin Recruiter here, he is not drawing a mountain anytime soon. Our top left player plays Darkshell Ingot. Looks like he's more just thinking. At least what it feels like. The fact that our 5-color deck and our teamer deck aren't putting power in play is concerning. Our 5-color deck, I don't know what his theme is. There's a couple of different ways to play a Child of Alara. One of the more common ways is definitely a build that's built around wrathing a bunch of times. It's very easy to wrath a bunch with Child of Alara because you can just bring it back out of the graveyard very easily. In fact, I played against Sheldon yesterday, Sheldon Menery at Armada Games. He was playing a child deck, and he's like, I'm going to play Grim Discovery and bring back my child and bring back a fetch land. It's like, all right, that's pretty good. What's going on here? Oh, it's not in his deck. Gotcha. All right, let's message MP1 and see what's going on. Try and prod him into hurrying up. But it should be alright. I really like our position. We have the most power in play. We're resistant to War and Instigator. And right now we are the first person to die from Perforos, but he can't kill us now, which is nice. I guess a card I would search for might be Kiki-Jiki. Kiki-Jiki is amazing with Perforos. He can just cast Kiki-Jiki, Perforos gets active, then make a copy of War and Instigator. Looks like he disconnected even. Alright. So, one of our opponents DC'd. That's been happening a bunch. He just got voted to eject, actually. We're going to give him a little bit of time. In the meantime, we can talk about the decks that are in play. Might as well. Make it a bit more of an audio podcast than anything else. Krenko is an amazingly strong general. One of the generals from... We're going to wait at least a minute before ejecting our top left player. I want to give him the time to be able to restart his computer. I don't like just bouncing people. Although you can do that in MTGO, and sometimes it's necessary, especially if he doesn't come back. I don't want to just bounce this guy without the chance to reload MTGO. Obviously, he was here. He plays Darksteel Ingot. So it's more than likely a computer issue, not as much a... I don't want to play anymore, so I'm just going to leave the battlefield issue. Anyways, Krenko is a general from M13. We've actually gotten a lot of great generals from the Magic the Gathering core sets, whether it be Krenko or Talrand or even Odric, all from the same core set, by the way. They're all just great. Even Yeva is awesome. That's one of the better parts about the core sets. I really do like the core sets. I think they were great. The fact that Magic Origins is going to be the last core set, dropping on the 17th, is kind of disappointing. I really like core sets. The coolest part about core sets is they really embrace more of a fantasy theme as opposed to embracing kind of the block theme or embracing the directed theme like Theros or the directed theme like Innistrad. Which, although those themes are pretty cool, sometimes you just want a wizard casting a fireball or you just want someone summoning a demon. And although it's cool to have that demon being summoned in Rakdos makeup, that means it has to be black-red instead of mono-black or stuff like that. Alright, it's been about 2 minutes. We are going to continue the vote to eject. Looks like he's just having issues with his computer itself and is gone forever. That's not how that works. Right. What do I type? That was dash, right? Dash eject. MP161. There we go. Yeah. So that happens every once in a while. People's internet turns off, you know, people's computers crash. It's a not common thing. It's not an uncommon thing, so sometimes you just have to deal with it. In that situation, our opponent just left and DC'd. We gave him 6 minutes to figure it out. 7 minutes even. I think that's about enough time. And I'll note, really nice for us, is that our teamer player just didn't cast anything. That's great. We're probably going to see what our Goblin player tutored for. It was Goblin Ringleader. That's what he found. That's what he... when he cast Gamble, that was a card he searched for. Pretty apparent because Ringleader is amazing. 3 in a red for a 2/2 with haste. When it enters the battlefield, reveal the top 4 cards of your library. Put all goblins reveal this way into your hand. The rest on the bottom of your library. And the bottom of your library in any order. Let's see if he hits anything off his Ringleader. First, we take 2 from Perforos. Come on, nothing good. He hits a nothing actually. Blood Moon goes away. Thank God. So does Mogcatcher, a Mountain, and a Forgotten Cave. So he misses on all of his hits with the Goblin Ringleader. He just has a 4 mana 2/2. Well, 3 mana 2/2 Root Medallion. Which right now could just be a Thran Dynamo. Or a Mind's Eye. You know what we're not going to return to his hand? Goblin Ringleader with Skymarker Rock. I guarantee you that. He also can't really attack here due to the fact that the player can just flash an Intet. We are going to focus down our top right player as much as we can. Although our Intet player finally has like real counter mana with double blue. Shapesharer. We're probably playing Adapt to TomTom before attacks then. I don't want to die to Perforos anytime soon. It's not really one of the things I find enjoyable, is dying to Perforos. So we're going to send the Morph to our top left player. This way, if he plays his commander, we can bounce it immediately. We're going to send these 2 at our top right player. But before we do that, we are going to cast our Adaptive Automaton, naming Bird. Did we leave up a green for Ice Feather Ape? Yes, we did. Especially with Shapeshare in hand. That's the main reason why we're doing this before attacks. We get to recoup all of our mana. Get to make our birds bigger. Boom, and now we get to attack. Send the Rock and the Derevi at our top right player, and the Morph at our top left player. Say American Rock will return more an Instigator to our opponent's hand. It is a May effect, so we could also not do it. I'm fine taking the 2. The 2 damage is also dealt to our Intet player. So, this is fine for me. Here's our opponent's commander coming down, I'm assuming. It is. Oh, little does he know. Poor guy. Didn't even see it coming. Gonna bounce that right back to your hand. It was all planned, baby. It was all planned. So we can bounce his commander back to his hand using Ice Feather Aven. We can bounce our opponent's Warren Instigator back to his hand. So even though it deals 2 damage to us, it also deals 2 damage to our opponent. It brings the Devotion to Perforos a lot less. All in all, just great things for us. The question is if we play Shapeshare or if we just untap our creatures. I think we are going to... We could leave up enough mana to recast Derevi through a Wrath effect. Or we could... I think that's more important than just leaving up a blocker. Yeah, I'm fine taking 2. We're just going to leave up mana so that we can bring out Derevi through a Wrath effect. So we're going to untap 1 land, untap 2 lands, untap I guess Menomino for fun. Why not? Now we could like cast Battle Screech here and go for the next turn Beck call Battle Screech, but I don't want to play that far into a Wrath effect. That just seems bad for business. So this way we'll still have access to Derevi after a Wrath. And if we really want to, we can untap Derevi using Menomino, which I don't think is that important at all, so probably not going to happen. Menamo. I keep saying Menomino from that Menomina song from, like, the Muppets. Menomina. Do, 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 do. But Menamo, School at Water's Edge, blue, tap, untap, target legendary permanent. All right, there, Intet. You're a Mardu. What? You're a teamer player. You got something up your sleeve, right? You don't have to do everything at instant speed. Like exiling our fate into Antiquity. Acts like... Wait, we're exiling Adaptive Automaton and not Perforos? Hold up. Okay, good. I was like... That's incorrect. There we go, that's better. So he's exiling our Adaptive Automaton and exiling Perforos, I hope. Okay, good. He's exiling both. That is fine with me. I got really judgmental there, and I think it was well-founded. So, there goes our Adaptive Automaton. Fine. Whatever. Good news is that our opponent wasn't able to copy our Beck and Call. So that's why he kept stalling during everyone's turns, was because he had Twin Cast in hand. So basically, our opponent has Twin Cast, blue, copy target instant or sorcery, you may choose new targets, and Fade into Antiquity, 2 and a green, exile target artifact or enchantment. Chain Reaction getting cast. Speaking of casting spells after a Wrath effect, that's going to kill everything. And now we get to put a Derevi into play. Send our command to the command zone. Yes, please. He redrew top. Wow, that is a draw indeed. Put Derevi back into play. Tap down this mountain for fun. That is a draw, by the way. That is hard to do. Alright, goes back to our turn. We draw planes. And yeah, let's just fuse this Beck and Call. Draw 4, put 4 1/1s into play. Seems good enough to me. We could have gotten spicy with Battle Screech and stuff. I just want to draw the 4. That seems better. Alright. Gotta love RTR. Draw a Hinterland Harbor, draw a Windswept Heath, draw Plains, draw Wimbrous Heights. Alright. That was not what I expected to have happen there. I will untap this Island X. I don't know. Well, that was majorly disappointing. We just drew 4 lands off this Beck and Call. We got 4 1/1s, but we were not supposed to draw 4 lands. That was not the goal. The good news is we can cast whatever we get off of Wimbrous Heights next turn using Derevi's trigger ability and the birds. We just have to do it during combat damage. So. For 2, we have Mind Stone. See? Mind Stone's coming into play. Then he can replay his Warren Instigator. Or play his Commander. Which we can't do anything about. So, come on in, Krenko. The water's fine. Hides in the sky. Pretty nice. We're going to use our Wimbrous Heights here. Hide something away. Hopefully something good, like Distant Melody or Coat of Arms. This is interesting. So Coat of Arms goes insane with our Krenko. We like our Krenko, our opponent's Krenko, which will be a very big issue. If we play Coat of Arms, it's very possible our opposing Krenko deck can just go off with it. Whereas if we just play this Coat of Arms, if we play this Distant Melody, we get to draw 5 cards this turn. I'm going to go for the draw 5. And have that work its magic. We have stops during our combat damage, good. Yeah, if you attack. We actually can do it to our main phase if we want, but we'll go for attacks. Derevi has to survive the attack, though. That's the main thing. Gonna send everything at our mono red player. Attack with all creatures at our mono red player. Go to blocks. We're also going to hold eyes on this guy. So if our opponent like does an instant speed wrath effect, which I don't know why he would, considering we're attacking our mono red player, he just casts his general. That's fine. All right, cool. So now we can cast eyes on this guy pretty safely. We're going to put 2 creatures into play, and we're going to draw 6 off Assistant Melody. And we get the mana back from the birds. So this is a free eyes on this guy, which is going to equate to 2 free creatures, which I think is pretty cool. Untap the Windburst Heights, untap the forest, untap the other forest, untap the plains, untap the plains. Yep. Gonna always deal with these triggers so we can just hit yes a bunch of times. Then we're going to cast our exiled card. We're going to name Bird. We're definitely naming Bird. Now we could cast Battle Screech and stuff and draw a bunch more cards if we wanted to. I'm fine. We'd have to discard all those cards, so I'm fine just doing this. We're going to name Bird. We're going to draw a card for each bird on the battlefield. Like this many cards. We can't actually lay a land, so I'm going to play 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 mana here. Cloud Chaser Crystal can't hit anything right now. I'm very tempted to just like play Keeper the Nightingales and something else. We could play Crooklet Elder to draw more cards. Or we can actually Bant Charm our opponent's commander and just make them not want to play the game anymore. We can Bant Charm this opponent's commander too. Ooh. This is close. Whose commander I'm more concerned about? Probably Krenko. If we bottom the Krenko player's commander, I think he concedes, which is a really good way to make sure you win the game. So let's make our opponent concede. Green, white, blue. Put your commander on the bottom of your library. So although in real life the tuck rules are in effect, where if the commander gets tucked, you can put it in your command zone instead of putting it on the bottom of your library. Those rules are not in effect in MTGO yet. We will cast our Keeper of the Nightingales. Then go to discard. Just tap out and pass. So again, we're going to utilize a Fate. I like keeping track of time. Discarding 3 lands. 2 lands Cultivate or 3 lands Cultivate? Do we just want to keep the other 2 lands in hand and discard the Cultivate? I think so. I'd rather just keep the 2 lands. Alright, so even though we did that much stuff, we're actually still not in amazing shape. We still need to be able to give our birds power. That's why that Adaptive Tom was so big. That's why it was nice to draw that many cards. If we get the land Crooklet Elder next turn and just go off, quote unquote, it'll be really funny. Also, cards like Keeper of the Nightingales get much better when we get to untap it a bunch of times, using Derevi and stuff like that. So, Keeper of the Nightingales is a pretty cool bird wizard. It's 2 and a blue, 1/2 with flying. We can tap 2 untapped birds we control to return target permanent to its owner's hand. From now on, we're going to be focusing on our Teamer deck. I'm not too worried about our mono red deck now that he no longer has access to Perforos and he no longer has access to his general. Alright, yeah, if you're going to attack me, I'm fine with it. I will block with a bird. You don't get to draw a card. Sounds good. Sizzling Dividing Top being activated. One of the cards that has the most time to Legacy games, which can also add a bunch of times to Commander games. But he just needs to search now. Like, we got rid of his Commander again, and we got rid of Perforos. Well, we didn't. Our opponent got rid of Perforos, so we're good for a bit. We're also down to 69 cards in Library compared to 83 from both our Teamer deck and our Mono Red deck, which is pretty good. Pretty good. Or Boggart shenanigans, you say? 2 in a red. Whenever another goblin enters the battle, whenever another goblin you control is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, you may have this deal 1 damage target player. God, I remember Lorwyn was when I really started playing, like really investing in playing in Magic. This is one of my favorite cards. It's not a good card. Looking at it objectively, it's not a good card, but it was one of my favorites, and I still love seeing it come into play every once in a while. I'm still telling you, Thran Dynamo is better than Ruby Medallion. Just saying. Let's see what we draw. Corehaven, you say? We'll play Corehaven. Prevents all combat damage. Whoops. Let's not do that. Prevents all combat damage that we dealt by target attacking creature this turn. So we're going to send some birds at our top left player, leaving up Keeper. This way, anything he plays to get in the way of us can be bounced. Sadly, not legendary, so we can't Manamo it. That'd be the best thing. So, Derevi, 1, 2, 3 birds at you. Leaving up Keeper. Only 5 damage. Like, that's the disappointing part. Alright, what you got? Joria of the Gitu coming down. Okay, that's interesting. What are you looking to exile? Right. No blocks. So we're going to bounce a bunch of stuff with Keeper here. We're going to target Keeper. We're going to target Derevi. We're going to target this. Oh, we're going to stop auto-yielding. Turn off auto-yields. We're going to target this bird. We're going to target this bird. We're going to bounce our opponent's Vidalcanori. Tapping 2 of our birds. In response, our opponent's going to suspend Darksteel Forge with 4 time counters on it. Anything else you want to do here? Suspend Hellkite Tyrant with 4 counters on it. Okay. Those 2 cards are coming into play in 4 turns. Gotcha. We can beat that. We bounce the Ori. We can tap all our permanents. Then we can bounce Intet now. Actually, do we bounce Intet now? Do we just wait? I think we just wait. And then we could eagle away the Boggart shenanigans. That doesn't matter, obviously. I think we play Crookclaw Elder. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 mana. We can play Crookclaw Elder and Battle Screech, I guess. That, again, really leaves us open to a Wrath effect. I don't want to do that. I think we play Shapesharer, actually. Because we can get the trigger off Intet, so... Blue and a 1 for Shapesharer, and we pass. With the Oregon, it gets really easy to just bounce Intet and not care. So Shapeshare is a pretty cool card. It's a 1 blue 1/1. target shapeshifter, like Shapeshare, becomes a copy of target creature until my next turn. So during our turn, we can make this a copy of Intet and do some pretty fun stuff. So Joria is a very interesting spell. It's a 1 blue red 2/2 that for 2 can exile a non-land card from your hand, put 4 time counters on it, and if it doesn't have suspend, it gains suspend, which means when that last counter comes off of it, these cards come into play with haste. Elixir of Immortality cast. It looks like it's just used. Just fine. He gains 5 life, puts all the cards in his graveyard back into his hand. Well, the only cards we know is left in his hand is Vidalcanori, so we're in a very good place against this top left player. Actually, a great place against this top left player, and a great place against the top right player. This is our game to win, and I want to win it. So we're going to play a little bit conservatively, but we're going to play to win. We are going to leave the Intet on the battlefield, because, yeah, we're going to leave this guy on the battlefield. We are going to prevent the damage from him with Corehaven, because I want a copy of him, and I want to hit my opponent with it. We are not going to block this Joria. We'll take 3. Corehaven's a great land. It's a legendary land for 1. It taps for 1, or for 1 no white. We prevent all combat damage to be dealt by target attacking creature this turn. Our opponent tops. Gonna keep sifting through those top 3 cards, see if he can find a way out of this. He already cast Chain Reaction. He might be playing Blasphemous Act. He could be playing... I don't know. Let's see what he found. For 5, we have... He's gonna put top on top. Goblin Assassin. Whenever this or another goblin enters the battlefield, each player flips a coin. Each player of coin comes up tails, sacrifices a creature. I hate Goblin Assassin. This is one of the cards I hate the most. Like, it actually is. But we'll do some flipping. If he gets to have the Goblin Assassin kill itself, then we're in a good place. So, you know, we should have bounced the Skull Clamp in response. I'm not sure. I want to see how the flips end up. All right. So we should have bounced Skull Clamp there, so that our opponent can draw a card by sacrificing his Joria. But we'll be fine. We're going to bounce the Ori again. We draw a Terramorphic. We'll play Hinterland Harbor. We'll make this Shapesharer a copy of Intet. There we go. And then how do I want to attack? It's a token creature bird, by the way. How do I want to attack is a great question. Because we can get more value by playing something before combat and then untapping lands. Or we could just... If we're untapping with 3, we have to attack with 3. We can play something else for free, basically. I think we play Elder here. Let's go for attacks. Attacking everything at our teamer player. He has no blocks, obviously. So Quickly Elder, 5 and a blue for a 3/2 with flying. Tap to untap birds, I draw a card. Tap to untap wizards, I control target creature gains flying till end of turn. A Legion's uncommon. Alright, we'll put Intet the Dreamer's ability on the stack first, so it resolves last. Then let's start untapping some cards. I want to untap at least 1 land. So we're going to untap this. This way we can pay for Intet. And then everything else is going to be untapping creatures. Untap Crookclaw. Untap a bird. 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 Alright. We're really getting there. The whole Derevi deck being the most annoying thing to play against in Commander thing is really working for us here. We'll pay 2 and a blue for this ability. We exile a Aven Cloud Chaser. Nice. Main phase 2, we get to cast the Aven Cloud Chaser. And we get to destroy the Boggart Shenanigans. And we get to pass. Aven Cloud Chaser is a 3 and a white 2/2 with flying. When it enters the battlefield, destroy target enchantment. Alright, he drew a land. He still has the Ori in hand. In 2 turns, he gets the Darkshield Forge and the Hellkite Tyrant. He recast Elixir Immortality, one of the cards he drew. Alright. That's great. I love it when my opponents draw Elixir Immortality. It means they didn't draw a real card. This is awesome. Alright, goes back up to 26. For 4 we recast Ori. This is, honestly, this is beautiful. Couldn't ask for better. Doesn't even attack. Pass Ori on a red player. We're going to draw a bunch of cards at the end of turn. We're going to bounce the Ori again. Top comes back down. 4 mana remaining. 5 mana for a red spell. He tops again. Guess we're worried about Skark Fire Marshal. Don't know if that really matters. Yeah, this deck is just motoring through, which is, again, how we drew it up. End of turn, we're going to bounce your Ori. End of turn, we're going to draw a card. End of turn, we're going to draw a card. End of turn, we're going to draw a card. Alright. Tundra comes into play. This is a Soul Catcher's Aerie. Whenever a bird is put into our graveyard from the battlefield, put a feather counter on this. Birds get +1/+1 for each feather counter on it. We'll play the Aerie. So now if our opponent Wraths, we just win the following turn, basically. That's what I'm looking at. Are you reading that the same way? I'm reading it that way. We also don't really need to do much else this game. We're going to make this into a copy of Intet again. We're going to bounce Intet. And we're going to attack this player for a bunch of damage. Untapping all of our birds. Alright. This is exactly how we drew it up. From the bottom again. Untapping 1 bird, 2 birds, 3 birds, 4 birds, 5 birds, 6 birds, 7 birds. We shouldn't have played the Tundra, but I don't think we'll be punished for it. Oh, Menomai is under here. Sure, we can play Menomai. Menomai the Ageless comes into play. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, we take an extra turn. This can't attack during extra turns. It's a Sphinx, not a bird. That's on me. I should have known that. So the good news is we can untap it with Manamo. That's kind of fun, right? Yeah. It's going to be... We would really have to mess it up bad to lose this game, especially with Soul Catcher's Aerie in play. I mean, there's a way we lose this game. Don't get me wrong. We lose this game to our opponent going Wrath Effect, kill Soul Catcher's Aerie. Then we really have to build back up. We know 2 of the cards in our opponent's hand. If he replays those 2 cards, I just know he's at least dead this turn, and then we can kill our top right player following. So we'll see how this works. I'm very confident. I think we can win this game with the bird deck. Ori comes back into play. At the end of turn, we could bounce the Ori at end of turn. We're not going to. Our mono red deck could put out something that we really need to get rid of first. So we'll see what he does. Gonna top again, see what that third card is. We are going to bounce at the end of our mono red player's turn, the Aura. And then draw some cards, because what else are we supposed to do, right? The answer is whatever the hell we want. And he concedes. Alright, that's game. This time you're not going to get the big spiel from me about conceding prematurely. We made it so that player couldn't play the game anymore. His hand was Mountainskirk Prospector. Nice. Alright, we won that game. Would have drawn 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright. Would have drawn Coastal Piracy. And for a turn, we would have drawn Swan Song. Alright, yeah, well, wow, we won that game real bad. Nice! So the bird deck takes it again. This time, we at least had 3 players to play against instead of turning into a 1-on-1. But everyone concedes to the bird deck. Who would have thought? We didn't make any changes since the other video I put up. This is the same exact deck. And I think it's fun. I'm having fun winning with this deck. This deck's a blast to win with. Considering we're just doing bird things. That's all we're doing. We're doing bird things. We're birds and we're doing bird things, gosh darned it. And it's a blast to do. Again, the deck list is below. Check it out. Thanks for stopping by. If you didn't know, I do stream on Twitch at twitch.tv/mtgradio. You'll see a lot more Commander there than on the YouTube site. The YouTube site is definitely more for more analysis-based videos, less not entertainment, but the Twitch stream is definitely more about interacting with chat. We have a lot of fun. You can pose questions there immediately instead of me having to respond later and stuff like that. So, hope you had some fun watching this game. The bird deck takes it again. The power of Derevi, really. Derevi is just incredibly powerful. But I hope to see you again and have a great night.